Few minutes. Okay. Facebook, thank you so much for joining us today. I know this evening that you are in for a treat. Get your notebooks out, get your pads out, because you are going to have to write down a lot of things that you can research later. Do not, please, do not fail to uh, get your paper and pencil out so that you can take notes. I'm not stealing. I'm not going to tell you. If you listen to my broadcast, you know who's coming on. We have ladies here from the Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center, and Sharon Seifel is going to introduce them. But I just want to invite you to the Children of Promise follow-up forum. How do you identify dream killers? We've identified a lot of dream killers. Now we are in a process and in a mode of how do we prevent the dream killers? What do we do? What do parents do that dream killers are not a part of your history? We wanted someone to come in and talk about the decisions that you make today can affect your future tomorrow. So not making a decision is the same as making a decision. So it's all up to you. And these phenomenal ladies are going to talk to you. Sharon Saffel is going to introduce them. But you know that we have said, and we believe, that God places a dream in all of our hearts when we're born. It's in our souls, to be exact. And when they are nourished because someone sees something that you're doing or you're excited about something, it's nourished and it's developed, and you do what you were born to do. And then there are other times when it's not nourished, at least not by your parents. But if you were listening when Council Member Eric Guerreras talked, he said it takes sometimes people from the outside to see something and be a good person and help you along the way. And sometimes it's just you thirsty for what you want to be in life, that you seek out information yourself and be successful. So we're trying to eliminate dream killers, whether we're our own worst enemy or whatever, because we know that when you are doing what you're supposed to do in life, we're going to have more students graduating from high school. We're going to have less dropouts. We're going to have fewer suspensions. Now, I'm not silly. I'm not a silly woman. I do understand that there's racism and a lot of other things, but even with that, we're going to learn how to deal with it. And there are going to be people there to stand up and speak up for you. If your parents don't do it, there are going to be others who will speak up and deal with the issues. All you have to do is develop that dream that God has placed in your hearts and be successful. And as always, I want to give credit to the underwriters of this program. They are Pharma, Odette White Crawford, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Eta Gamma Omega Chapter, Ollie W. Watson, Maggie Temple, Della Johnson, and Dr. Hazel W. Mahone. Those are the people who give us money to ensure that the Children of Promise conference, as well as the forum, is successful and can come to you. And I am now going to present my good friend, my supporter, and who cares about African American children, as well as all children, but especially African American children. Not only the children, but she cares about their parents. She is concerned that parents take their rightful places in the lives of their children, and that their children look to them as their heroes and heroines. That's what we need. We don't need them looking at basketball players all the time. They have their places, but our parents have a greater role in the development of our children. And I present to you now Sharon Saffel, MSW.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. It's Tommy Whitlow. And it is my great honor to be able to introduce you to our speakers for tonight's Children of Promise Forum. And I know you will enjoy everything that they are prepared to present to us. Please welcome Gavina Avila. She is with the Financial Empowerment Center of Sacramento. Prior to her coming on board with the Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center, she was a freelance instructor teaching finance classes to artists and entrepreneurs in and around the Sacramento area. Gavina has worked in the financial industry since 2007, when she first started working with Bank of America. She received her BA in economics from CSUS Sacramento with a minor in business and a certificate in teaching English to speakers of other languages in 2009. In 2013, after returning from teaching English in Sierra Leone, West Africa, with the Peace Corps, she promptly assisted her family with starting and maintaining their restaurant business while attending a graduate program at CSU Sacramento. Gavina has a passion for encouraging others, leading with foresight, and developing strong community relationships, both professionally and personally. She was the first in her family to graduate from college as a first generation student of immigrant parents and did so debt and loan free. Now, we all know that's a great accomplishment. When Gavina is not traveling and photographing internationally, she likes to take her dog Decker on long walks. She is fluent in Spanish. Welcome, Gavina Avila. Next, we have Marcia McClain. She is a financial coach with the Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center, working exclusively with individuals who have been financially impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Marcia brings over 15 years of experience working in various nonprofit social work sectors. She has worked as a K through 12 educator in California public schools for many years and enjoys providing education opportunities for adults as well. Marcia earned her AA degree in paralegal studies from MTI College in Sacramento and her BA degree in government from California State University, Sacramento. In her spare time, Marcia enjoys learning about diverse cultures through visual and performing arts. Please, please welcome our speakers for today.
Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. We have our slide here that just needs to go up and we can get started with our presentation. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here representing the Financial Empowerment Center. Okay, so this is where we'll start. The Financial Empowerment Center, also known as the FEC, and that's what I'll use moving forward with other examples of who we are, or explaining what it is that we do. We are here for a few reasons. The main reason is because the citizens of Sacramento had requested from the city financial education, and after years of promoting, finding resources, finding funds for it, we were able to come to the city of Sacramento to support people with wonderful financial education. So as I had mentioned, the City of Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center is an initiative implemented by community-based organizations. We offer free virtual one-on-one financial coaching and counseling services. Our services are available in Spanish and other languages upon request. And of course, they are available to any resident in the Sacramento County over the age of 18, regardless of income. So in my experience, I've helped people who are in transitional homes and housing, and people who are making over 6 figures. Everyone needs financial coaching. Everyone needs help with their money, and that even accountants. That's something that I like to say. And one time I asked an accountant, and he says, "That's very true. Even I need help with my money, and I'm an accountant." Okay, let's move on. Here we have us, of course, the coaches. We are a dynamic quadro team O of very well-educated, certified financial coaches. The objective here will be to see if you can find our faces in the lineup. I'm sure that's easy for you to do. Let's see. And so we're the ones that are able to help the people in the city of Sacramento when it comes to one-on-one financial coaching. And what is it that we really focus on when we have our sessions? We go off of 4 key elements, and that is we help our clients reduce debt, increase savings, offer access to safe and affordable banking, and we help them improve and build their credit, which means that one of our goals is to help you raise your credit score and be more credit aware. What's going on with your credit report? We have access to look at your credit report as a soft credit pull, which does not have a negative impact on your credit score. And we do that as part of our coaching sessions. So we can see over time your credit score improve with some of the programs that we have available through our coaching services. One of those programs is called the Credit Building Ladder. And what it is a way for us to help our clients who are having problems with their credit, or who, even worse than bad credit, is no credit. So people who have 0 as a credit score, or they're in the 400s, or they've just had a horrible time with their credit and they're looking to make change, we have ways to help that. One of the ways that we help our clients is by offering this simple loan. How it works is we deposit $100 interest-free into your checking account. After 6 months, right, or during the duration of 6 months, we're going to be doing automatic withdrawals of a little less than $17 per month as we retake our payment back. We're just taking that exact $100 back over the course of 6 months. When we do an automatic payment back to us, we report your payments to the 3 credit bureaus. Does anyone know who the 3 credit bureaus are? Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Yes. So we report active credit or active credit payments to the 3 credit reporting agencies, which is showing that you are making active live payments back to a creditor, which will then in turn help you with your credit. It's a proven method that helps countless clients. And you can be enrolled in this very simple and helpful program when you enroll in our one-on-one financial coaching sessions. How this has helped our clients is by giving us some great stories of success, right? One of the things that really leads to motivation and improvement is by holding each other accountable. What that means is when you have a coach, we hold you accountable to things that you say that you're going to do and action plans that we create together. The beautiful thing is when you have financial coaching, you're not dealing with your finances alone anymore. And anything that you want to be successful at, having a mentor or a coach to guide you along the way is going to help you go further along the path. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go together. And with this is having a financial coach. We support the team dynamic, you and I and whoever else is connected with you. In this case, the education that you learn, you can transpose to your children as well. So let me get back to the success stories. In the short time that we have been existing, the Financial Center has been around since April of 2020. Just last year is when we officially started. We have helped over 400 clients. In that time, we have increased savings of over $377,000 in savings with those 400 clients, in addition to reducing debt by over $217,000. That is phenomenal. It just makes you go with your brain to see such development in people's finances, which affects their lives, which affects other parts of their lives. And that's what we do here with being financial coaches. So now for teaching some more financial literacy to youth, I'm going to turn it over to Marcia to tell you more.
Thank you so much, Gavina, for giving us that wonderful overview of what the FEC is. We'll wrap up the presentation with some more information about the FEC and how to get in touch. I'm going to start out talking a little bit about teaching financial literacy to youth. Um, Again, as was shared with me, we want to provide resources to parents so that they can raise children of promise. So some of these things hopefully are little tidbits and nuggets that you can kind of walk away with today and put them in your arsenal, and then definitely hook up with a financial coach later on and get a little more intricate information about your individual situation. So teaching kids about financial literacy, we can start talking about allowances and budgeting. Allowances and budgeting teaches kids and youth that money is a finite resource, right? It doesn't grow on trees. It teaches kids that you have to work for money and spend it carefully. It teaches kids how to allocate money. We kind of like to use the save, give, spend model. You see the three jars there where you talk to kids about these three areas: saving their money, giving their money, giving to charities and foundations and things like that. And then there's a percentage that they get to spend, of course. Okay, next slide. Contributing to purchases. So that's probably, usually a little foreign to our youth, but teaching youth about contributing to the purchases, contributing to the things that they want. That teaches younger children the concept of cost. It also kind of teaches them about how to save for bigger purchases. So when they get older, they kind of have the skill set and the endurance to kind of save for that first car, or maybe for that first apartment, or different things that they're going to want down the line. Opening a bank account. So in my opinion, this is something we don't talk to our youth about enough. Opening a bank account it gives youth an introduction to the banking industry, and it teaches them the importance of building up their balance in whether it's their checking or their savings account. There's a lot of different ways that youth can get their feet wet kind of and get experience in the traditional banking industry. These are very popular ones. I know a lot of the young people are pretty much, they kind of know about Cash App. They know about Venmo, PayPal. We also have Zelle. Zelle and Venmo are more are online banking platforms that are connected to a bank per se. You kind of can put your bank card in there. You set up your account. Same thing with PayPal. Cash App, I really like it. You can just directly send money to someone. Once you kind of set up their information in your account, these are all tied in directly to your bank account. Good way to keep track of your expenditures as well when you're using these online banking apps. And these are really popular amongst youth. And when you're talking to youth to try to entice them into using the traditional banking industry, these options might be a good way to go. So youth accounts, for example, now there's a lot of different things out there. This is just one example. It's called the Green Light Card. You can go to greenlightcard.com. It's a debit card for kids. It has a parental control feature. It also has some investment options. So we won't talk much about investment options here in this presentation, but definitely having that beginning conversation with youth about investment and the options that they have there, getting educated in that area, so they can start to learn how to make their money work for them instead of the other way around. A green light card account can have up to 5 kids per account, and it starts out at as low as $4.99 a month. So definitely talking with a financial coach one-on-one, you will have the opportunity to be introduced to many more resources all across all of these different topics that we're talking about this evening. Your financial counselor can talk to you more about safe and affordable banking, about free banking that doesn't have fees. You can definitely talk about options and kind of decide what types of accounts might work best for you. So that's definitely another service that your financial coach can provide for you. So, work opportunities. Yes, yes, yes. Our young people do have work opportunities so they can make money as well. Yes, they can make money as well. Did you hear that? No. We have the workforce development via the city of Sacramento.org. And again, these two are just a couple as an example of the many resources that you obviously you can research on your own, but definitely that your financial coach will have um, an arsenal of resources about and be able to introduce you to and talk to you about in all of these categories. But workforce development with the city of Sacramento, youth employment opportunity program with the state of California unemployment department. They have a jobs and training program. You can check those out. And again, you can always talk with the financial coach to explore lots of other work opportunity resources as well for youth. And here are just a few more resources. I really like these, especially being in the educational sector. These are some different resources. You have Investopedia, you have some Dr. Seuss there, you have the Ignite Spot, Financial Literacy Guide for Kids. A lot of few different options here that you might want to check out that are great tools to getting youth engaged in talking about financial literacy. Now, let's talk about college. So, yes, yes, if your youth are planning to go to college, start saving as early as possible. If you want to be like our stellar example, Miss Avila, and be able to get through your college without acquiring a whole lot of student loans and a lot of debt, a 529 plan is definitely something you might want to become educated about and look into. It's a college savings plan that offers tax and financial aid benefits. Um, it can be used to attend college at any qualified institution. It is in action in over 6,000 colleges in the US and 400 universities. What are some of the benefits? You get some federal income tax breaks. You don't have to report contributions to a 529 on your taxes. There's a lot of flexibility and very low maintenance. And again, this is something you can talk more in depth with the financial coach as you make plans and set some goals for your children's college. Here are a few more tips for saving. You want to understand the cost of college. You want to make sure you have uh, a complete list: tuition, housing, books, supplies, all of that kind of stuff. You want to make sure you take that into consideration when you're making your plans and setting your savings goals. You can always ask family and friends to help. Again, very important. Start saving now, even if it's not as much as you wanted to start saving. Doing even the smallest amount um, will be beneficial to get you started in this process. And then balance contributions with other life priorities. So yes, you want to make sure your rent is paid. You want to make sure food is on the table and other necessities are taken care of. This is really important, and one of the main things that I enjoy as a financial coach is working with clients on a budget. Sometimes we say budget and it just kind of sounds cliche, but thinking about things like saving for college and 529 plans, looking at your budget is really, really important. And working with a financial coach will help you kind of prioritize all of these other life priorities and still figure out a way where you can find some room, to make some contributions to a 529 plan and other savings goals that you may have as well. Here's another really neat tool that we like. It's called the Kindergarten to College Savings Plan. It is sponsored by the United Way. If you open a 529, which by the way is a matched savings account, and it is free to open, you can earn $100 incentive, and there are certain matches that you can get on the contributions that you make to that 529 plan. And again, that is something you can discuss individually with the financial coach and get a little bit more information on how that match works with that 529 account. There's your information for the United Way, K2C, which is the Kindergarten to College Savings Program. And I am going to turn it back over to the lovely Gavina. She's going to talk to you about child tax credit and some other FAFSA, financial aid, and take it over.
Thank you, Marcia. All right, FAFSA. So the question I like to ask in the beginning is, how many people are aware of what FAFSA is? Some of you have said, nodded your head yes. Some of you have said, done this emoji. I don't know if this is emoji. It should be. Oh, it is. There's that one girl that goes like this. I use it a lot. But the FAFSA application. So when we're talking about college, we're talking about federal aid. We're talking about how to create a plan to get our kids to school, right? Even if you didn't make it to college, there are ways for you to find out how to enroll, what steps to take to become a college student for your children, or even for you as an adult wanting to get to school or wanting to graduate with a college degree. It is all possible. And FAFSA helps with the financial aspect of that, right? School counselors can help you figure out the dynamics of how to enroll, what you need to apply. It's never too late, ever, ever, ever. You always have an opportunity to do this. I have a very close friend who got her master's degree when she was 65, and now she's a social worker doing her thing for people in the community. So it is never too late to get the education that you want or to bestow that education onto your kids, even if you didn't have it growing up. We're about passing the baton to the children, the communities that come after us or that are growing up with us, to allow them these opportunities. And finding out how to apply for FAFSA is one option for you when it comes to paying for that education. This is actually something that helped me when I went to college to pay for that, to pay for my school fees when I was enrolled in community college for the first few years of my secondary education. So, what is FAFSA? FAFSA is an acronym for something that I don't remember, but you can look that up as one of the things that you look up later. What it is really, it's a free application for federal student aid. You know what? That's what FAFSA stands for, a free application for federal student aid. You don't have to look it up because we found it right here. So why should you apply? It is an important step for parents and students and something they can do towards paying for college or something they can utilize for paying for college. And you can apply in the springtime for fall. I think it opens up in January. Yeah. For the following semester, for the following semesters. And you can find out more information about it at studentaid.gov. And that's going to look like this, right? When you log into studentaid.gov, you're going to get into this federal student aid website. You can read in, you can create an account because you will need an account. And the good thing about this is that parent or children who are independent, they're living off of their own, they don't depend on their parents' income, they can of course apply for this. But also if you have children at home who are going to be college students, they can apply, and the income of the parent is taken into account when you're applying for financial student aid. This is something that happened to me when I applied for FAFSA. My mom's income was taken into account because I was underneath her, or she was claiming me on her taxes as one of her dependents, even though I was in my older than 18. And it just works to see how much can your parents afford for college and how much will the government put down to support you with your financial education. So what can FAFSA pay for? It can pay for tuition and fees, room and board, books, supplies, transportation, other miscellaneous things. Sometimes they'll send you a check, and then the objective of the student or whoever's receiving the funds will have to continue to have good grades, pass their classes, and if not, if they just drop out and spend all that money, then there's some repercussions for that. So the objective here is to make sure that you can enroll in your coursework, pass your classes, and they are going to support you with a lot of that financial opportunity. On average, grants are about, a grant is money that is given to you that is not required to pay back. So this is money that they are providing for you to make sure that you get the education that you're looking for. All right, and then this little statistic is brought to you by savingforcollege.com, which has a lot more information on how to save for college.com. That's where you can go to check out that information. Okay, let me tell you about this great opportunity called the Child Tax Credit. This is something that's come out recently. You can earn up to $3,000 per qualifying child between the ages of 6 through 17, up to $3,600 for children under the age of 6. So this isn't generally one lump sum. This is something that they give you over month for a time period. And who is eligible for this, right? It gets a little tricky. We're not tax professionals. We're personal financial coaches. And so this is the information that we have to share with you to give you some insights about how it works. So who is eligible is that if you have a child who qualifies, they must be under the age of 18. They must have their own social security number and be claimed as a dependent on taxes. If someone else is claiming the child in their taxes, then they are eligible for the child tax credit. So whoever is claiming them with their taxes continues to have this benefit as well. You must have your main home residence in the U.S. for at least half a year. So this is for people who have just moved into the country and whose children, even under the age of 6, who are freshly born, are eligible for this. But the adults must have the residency for over half a year in the United States. You must be under some certain income thresholds, right? If you are filing jointly, then you must be under $150,000 per year. If you are filing independently or head of household as one person, then your income cannot exceed $75,000. And then the most important thing, or a very important thing, is that you have to have filed your taxes for 2020 or provided information to the IRS. So remember when we got those stimulus funds and you had to input your information to get that financial resource? However you went ahead to receive those funds and to get those monies into your personal account, that is pretty much the same way that they're going to deliver it to you this way, right? So your information is already, if you filed your taxes, if you claimed your dependent, if they have a social security number, if they're under the age of 18, then you will automatically receive these funds as direct deposit into the way that you received it, right? If it's check, if it's debit card, if you didn't file your taxes, and we'll look into that. Okay, so you must have filed your 2020 taxes if you were required to. If you were not required to file taxes, and you did not provide information to the IRS for the economic impact payments, then you use this non-filer sign-up tool, which is at irs.gov/child tax credit. And when you log into this system, then you'll be able to input your information, your direct deposit information, or where you want the funds to go. So that way you can make sure you get access to that $3,600, that $300, that $3,000. That way you can get access to the funds that the government is wanting to give you to support you during this time with these funds. And then some other things about it is that you can still qualify with an ITIN number. So income tax identification number, that's what ITIN is. And that's for people who are in the country who do not have a social security number, but their children do because their children were born in the United States. So they can still qualify to receive these incentives because of the qualifications of their child. So you may be able to receive payment on existing prepaid card if it has a routing number and account number. This applies to people who don't have a traditional bank, but they do have a banking through online access. So sometimes that Cash App, sometimes Chime. If you have information that is an account number and a routing number, and if you didn't file your taxes for 2020, then you can go back to irs.gov, child tax credit, and sign up in the non-filer tool, so that way you can make sure to receive your payments. Something that I don't have here is that they're going to start distributing these payments July 15th, so next week. And that's why it's important to make sure that you have your information updated on all the websites that are looking for your information to know where to send you these funds. So in the child tax update portal, make sure you input that information with your bank information. Of course, your routing number and your account number, you must know that. And as is everywhere when money is flowing, there are going to be people who are wanting to scam you. There's going to be those collect calls or those calls from people who want to wants to trick somebody, and you don't want to be tricked. And you won't be tricked because you know that funds can only be received through Tax IRS portal or irs.gov, right? Not through MoneyGram, not through someone sending you a letter somewhere, not through these other things. It's only through the IRS that you're going to get this information, or IRS portal to enter your information. They're not going to be calling you. It's going to be through a process. It's very simple. Okay. So just watch out and make sure that it's from the IRS specifically when you get these funds. And if you do nothing about it, and you already filed your taxes and you received your economic impact payments easily, then you're not going to have a problem receiving these funds because it will just happen automatically like the other payments came out. Yeah. So as I mentioned, these are going to be paid out from July 15th, so next week onward, and that's something to keep in mind. And if you want to know where your tax payment is, if you haven't received it after a month and a half or 2 months, then you can go to the IRS website. You just look, or you can Google advanced child tax or child tax credit IRS, and then you'll find the website to get you to there to look up where your funds are going, if they are going to be coming your way. So there's that. They just got their deposit, and the kids are super happy because now they get to go eat at grandma's or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking up the story in my head. So there's information for that. And now I'm going to pass you back to Marcia to finish it off.
All right. So how do you get in contact with a financial coach? To request an appointment with a financial empowerment center coach, you can send an email directly to fec@cityofsacramento.org, or you can call 916-808-4927. The email or the phone number will take you to a very, very simple referral process. One of the financial coaches will reach out to you, discuss your goals with you, talk about what it is you want to accomplish, and you can work together from that point. Remember, all of the services are free. Make sure you include your name, your contact information, and a short description of the help you're seeking in your referral. Where is FEC located? So on this beautiful map, and if you're as old as me, of course, you can't see the small writing, but it is a beautiful, beautiful image that shows all of the different FEC locations. If you go to the next slide, I'll just talk about a few of them. We have one in Aurora, Illinois, Baltimore, Maryland, Ohio, Tennessee, Dallas, Texas, Denver, Colorado, Detroit, Michigan, Maryland, South Carolina, Hawaii, Houston, Texas, Louisville, Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee. There's a couple more on there. Go ahead. Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Wisconsin. So those are all of the FEC locations where if you are a resident of those cities, you can access Financial Empowerment Center services and work one-on-one with the financial coach, who will be more than happy to talk with you about your financial goals and help you to work to set up a plan of action to reach those goals. There is. So are there any questions, any comments? And of course, we take compliments as well. And there's the email and the phone number again. And I can't see it, Gavina, so I'll hand it back over to you if you can see any questions or hear any questions. If not, you can go ahead and wrap it up.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead and wrap it up, and then I'll come back with some questions for you guys. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
As would happen. I said we are ready.
Okay, great, great, great. Well, thank you very much for a very informative presentation on a very needed subject for everyone, no matter what your status is in life. We can all gain some wisdom and knowledge from being better prepared and better equipped to deal with our financial health and wellness. So you talked about your program, and I had a couple of questions on that. So are there any income restrictions or on eligibility for Financial Empowerment Center?
No. Yeah, when it comes to all who can apply, the only two requirements that they are living within the county of Sacramento. So it doesn't have to be downtown Sacramento. It can be Elk Grove. It can be North Highlands, Natomas. And they have to be over the age of 18. So I have had clients who are parents who have enrolled their children or who have referred their children to our program who are over the age of 18 to be part of our clientele as well, and making this a family movement. There's no financial requirements. We don't have to have anyone on any minimum income or maximum income. As I mentioned, I help people who are in transitional housing, who are youth in centers, but I also help people who are making 6 figures a year. As I mentioned, everyone needs financial coaching, and in order to get you from where you are now to the goals that you want to meet, having a coach or a mentor is a way to do that more easily than if you just struggle through it by yourself.
So true, so true. And then you talked about the Advanced Child Tax Credit, which I think is a great tool to help parents who, have been impacted by the pandemic. And so I just wanted to know if you are aware whether this Advanced Child Tax Credit will continue on past 2020. Will there be opportunities for continued benefits for the Advanced Child Tax Credit for families?
I don't know if it's going to be beyond this one that they're doing now. The amount of, say, $3,000, right, that you could get for a child that's over the age of 6. Let's see. So this is for the next year. You would be getting about $250 per month deposited into your account for the next 12 months, and that adds up to $3,000. It's more if you have a child that's under the age of 6, and that will add up over the next 12 months to be $3,600. I haven't heard anything about it moving forward beyond the next 12 months.
Great. Well, thank you also for the warning to families about scams and fraud, because we know anytime when there is money being given out by the government, there's always that opportunity for people to find ways to scam people. So we want to emphasize to our audience that it's so important that you question anything that seems just to our people who are trying to call you to help you with applying. When applying is free, all you have to do is go on the website, and you have the Empowerment Center staff here who can help you with that also. So don't get scammed is a great message for this opportunity that you're going to have to get money that you may not be able to, that may not be around for another next year or the year after that. You talked about online banking. And so in the apps, those apps that are Cash App and Venmo and all of those other apps, are they connected at the same way as a bank account, where when you're applying for credit, or when you're looking for your credit worthiness, that's going to be able to be used for that avenue or that way of showing that you're credit worthy, or is that not a tool that will do that?
That is a really great question. And correct me, Gavina, if you know more about this than I do. Probably for something like Zelle, because that's actually attached to like your Bank of America account. I would imagine you'd be able to use something like that when it comes to the scenario that you just mentioned. I'm not sure how advanced Cash App and Venmo necessarily are in that arena as far as being um, able to be used to, show your credit worthiness for different credit opportunities. Do you have any info on that, Gavina?
Yes. So things that affect your credit are things that are associated with taking a loan and making a payment back, right? Or showing that you're making constant payments back to something. Anything that's associated with building credit is showing that you are reliable enough to make a repayment to something you borrowed. So when you rent, you're borrowing the place that you're living, and you making your payments. If you don't make your payments, that's going to end up on your credit report. If you are utilizing a credit card and you don't make your payments on that, that's going to have an effect on your credit report, because it's showing active payments that are in progress to continue to prove that you are trustworthy and reliable. When it comes to the apps, there is nothing that's connected for you to take out a loan and you're making a payment back on it. So that's where the disconnect is. A lot of times has happened with your banking institution, if you borrowed money and you didn't pay it back, that's going to end up on your credit report. But if, say, you defaulted on your checking account, you had overdraft charges that just added up and you couldn't pay them back, that's not necessarily going to end up on your credit report, because you didn't owe anything that you were making payments on that you borrowed. That's going to affect a different system called check systems that will limit your ability to open up new accounts with a traditional banking institution. So it's not all the same. It's not all connected like this. There's different platforms for different things, especially when it comes to regular checking and savings through traditional banking institutions and making repayments on loans.
Thank you for that clarification. And I think it's important, especially for our young people who are getting ready to, work and establish credit, that they also understand that you don't want to overdraft your accounts, because that is going to affect, how people view you and whether you're able to open up a regular bank account. So there are some ramifications to those things. And that's why it's great to have coaches once they become 18 and can access your services. I had another question also about, let me see, what was it? Oh, can you ladies talk about I don't know, maybe the pros and cons, maybe. I don't know if I want to say it that way, but anyway, the differences between a private college and a USC, UC system of education.
I'll let you take that one, Gavina.
Yes, the main difference behind it is the price tag.
Yes.
Right? And if we are in a place where we want to promote a college education that is within your financial capabilities, then the price tag is definitely an important contribution to that. I find in my experience, I've seen and been in the education world for a while, and my experience has shown me that even if you have a master's degree, if you don't have the drive and the desire inside of your heart, inside of your spirit to achieve more and accomplish things, then what does it matter what you got, where you got your degree from, or what degree you got? Because if you're not applying action to your education, then that's just a piece of expensive paper. So in my perspective, right, I can only speak on my experience. It's more of what you do with that education and how you apply it. And if you know that one school that is a private institution has a great program that's going to get you into the career that you want to excel in, then if the price tag is worth it, then go for it. But I've also seen people who have just a simple AA degree, right, an associate's degree in something, who have gone on to be entrepreneurs and have their own businesses, and they're making 6 figures a year. So it just depends on how much you're willing to spend. We work with people often who are dealing with repaying their student loans and who are in massive debt, the amount of what you would pay for a home, because they got that college education at a place that was beyond their financial capabilities, because they promised that you'd make this money back when you're older, and then COVID hit, or they're just in a regular income job. So it depends on what your goals are for the future. Really, it's are they serving to the curriculum that you want to be a professional in? Is the living situation going to be good for you, going to be appropriate for you? And will you be how will you be financially speaking as a result of that education that you go to acquire? So for me, community college is not if you can make it to a 4-year institution based on a scholarship or your work ethic in high school, then power to you. That's what I want to see. But an option that there is no shame in it, community college, a lot of the professors that teach at community college also teach at 4-year institutions, right? They have multiple schools that they teach at. So you're getting very similar education from one institution to another, because you have the same teacher, and they're teaching the same class. It's just that at community colleges, you're going to do it with more affordability and in your community that you're familiar with, if you stay around your hometown. And it's going to set you up gradually to get to a place where once you transfer from a 4-year institution to from a 2-year to a 4-year, then you will already have had college under your belt. You can approach it in a way that's going to let you knock out the last 2 years, because you have experience with it and you know what your focus is in, even if you change your subjects once you're there. And you're not going to be able to carry the load of student loan debt, like a lot of my colleagues have. And knowing that that's the path that I took to be debt free and still have my college education has been phenomenal and empowering in this position that I am now.
Thank you for that. I think it's so important for young folks and their families when they're considering college is to count the cost, and the affordability. And we know that there are so many great colleges, both private but public, that can meet their needs, and then they can attend a college that won't have them in great debt. And so just making sure that you're weighing all of the factors that are going to be beneficial to you for the outcome that you want. when you're looking at your educational and career goals, and not to be pressured by anybody to go a certain way. And sometimes you can feel the pressure, but that's a decision that you need to get a lot of counsel in when you're talking about your education and the cost of that education. So thank you for sharing on that and giving us more information on that. So the other area that I wanted to just get a little more information on was when you shared about youth being able to get jobs through EDD, workforce. And so I was just wondering whether any of those programs do like I had done when I was working, and that is they will take out a certain amount of your money if you authorize it to put it directly into a bank account of your choosing, kind of like a forced savings for those young folks who are working. And of course, it's a lot easier when it's an automatically takeout and you don't have to see the money. So are there any such programs for our youth where when they're working in these governmental programs that they can opt to have a savings account, a savings funds directed to their bank account?
Yes. Do you mean something other than like as far as like when they get their paycheck, they can allocate a certain percentage to be direct deposited into a savings account, something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking of.
Yes. I would. I mean, I can't speak particularly on either of those programs, but I would imagine most jobs that the youth would get, they would have that option of a direct deposit and a percentage into a savings account.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it's nice when it's automatic and you don't have to see the money and it's already out of your check before you get it in your hand. So just wanting to see if that was something that might be a way for helping our young people to save money.
Yeah, and even if they find themselves with an employer that for whatever reason doesn't do that, most banks will offer that option where
Oh,
they can set up some type of automatic deposit into a savings
account.
account.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I think that's all the questions I had. I'm sure Tommy will come back on. She may have a few more for you, but it's been a wonderful presentation, wonderful time of talking with you, and just wealth of information. Finances, financial literacy is a wealth builder. When you know how to manage your money well, you can do well. And so it's something that for a lot of people, I know growing up, my parents never talked to us about money. And so it is something that we need to make sure we're talking to our children and grandchildren about, and then helping them to navigate the system so that they will understand it more, hopefully more than we did when we were their age and growing up and becoming financially independent. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
You're on mute, Tommy.
Facebook, did not I tell you to get your pencil and paper handy so you could take notes? I think that all of the people who listen to this should have another perspective. And I just want the panelists to go over again. You talked about balancing. Go over those steps again so that as people listen to this and come back, they do not forget, because I have maintained that if you just do $15, your income is $15 an hour, that you just may, and it seems like if they come to see you guys, you just may be able to find a way to save $2 or $3 a month or a week, and still be able to pay your rent, buy food, pay for the insurance on the car, or whatever the other expenses that you may have. I just write down what I'm saying. I also like the idea of getting children involved. Children need to start very early. And I think that parents who have had the most money for their children when they graduate from high school have started when the children were born. And if you would go back over that again, because we're talking about tax credits, and maybe tax credit is not the word, but at least you get to write it off. It saved you some money in the end of having to pay income tax. Okay.
So I'll talk a little bit about the balancing the priorities again. Again, as part of what we do as financial coaches, talking about balancing those financial priorities is key. Um, of course, we know we have rental expenses, we have travel expenses, we have to eat. You know, all of that stuff is on our mind, it's stressing us out. How are we going to balance this and that and everything that we have to do? You know, don't talk to me about savings right now. I got, bills and other things that I got to take care of. So, working with the financial coach definitely will help you hear a new perspective, a different perspective, coming from your financial coach, someone that's in your corner, that's working with you as an accountability partner, who wants to see you succeed and achieve the goals and be in a place where you desire to be. And I think I forgot who said it, but someone on here said it, and I've lived by that. For a long time, if you get those finances in order, everything else will more easily fall into place. When you're not managing your finances, you'll find that a lot of other aspects of life are not being managed properly as well. So yeah, you're right. We will help you, even if it's $5 a month. Even if it's $2 a week. For people that feel like that's a futile effort, I like to remind them that even getting into the behavior and the habit of saving, working with what you have. And then once you start making some more money, things are going to change. Of course, things will get better. And then you will already be in that habit of, putting something aside, saving for yourself, paying yourself first. And again, that is definitely something that remains at the center of the relationship while you're working with a financial coach at the Empowerment Center.
One of the things that I heard these ladies say is that the Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center does not exclude people who only have a little money. I listen to KGO and I hear those financial coaches, and they're not called coaches, whatever they are, advisors. They want you to have, one wanted you to have $1 million. The other one said $250,000. That is what coaches are asking people to have. Listen, what we're being given an opportunity to participate in, to be able to go to a dinner party. We used to talk about cocktail parties and talk about the fact that your financial coach advised you. And you're making $15 an hour. You have a financial coach. The same thing that a person making $150,000 a year. So jump on that, please jump on that. Get that. Things happen for a reason. We don't always have it. This opportunity is available to us today. Now, let's take advantage of it. Tomorrow, if it's gone, it's gone. You have already learned the principles so that you can be successful financially, and especially people who have children. Please, you started doing it, and once you bring your children in, they'll help your children, but your children can't go by themselves. You have to be 18 to go by yourself.
I wanted to tell you a wonderful story about one of my clients in relation to her and her 3-year-old child. So we started out, she was in a very, I like to use this emoji for a lot of things. She was like this with her finances, right? And we started working together. A big expense that a lot of people have in their household budget that they don't realize until they sit down and they put pen to paper and they write things out is how much money food consumes from their budget. Just thinking about dining out, just groceries that you bring in, shopping at Costco compared to shopping at Sprouts, or like a smaller store where you're not spending $300 per trip or something. And so we talked about creating boundaries with our budget, right? And when you say no to other things, you're saying yes to yourself. That's something that I'm a big fan of. Say no to them so you can say yes to you and to your goals. And working together for some time, I said one of my things is when you go grocery shopping, make sure you take a list. You don't go shopping while you're hungry, because then you're going to buy all of aisle 2. And make sure that you've already checked your cabinets in your kitchen to see what you have and what you don't have, so we can use what we have before we go to the store and buy more. So she started making the budget, and when her daughter would start asking her, "Mom, can we have this? Mom, can we buy this candy?" She would say, "It's not on the budget, dear. We have to keep track of the budget." And she would be upset at first, but the mom would talk to her and say, "Look, it's not. We have to put things on the budget on the list. When we are at home, we're making the list, and when we bring it here, we stick to the list." And so the mom would tell me later that the little girl, she would go to the grocery store again with her mom, and her mom would have a desire to like buy something. She'd be like, mind you, a 3-year-old, she'd say, "No, mommy, it's not on the list. Mommy, it has to be on the list." And it was a great way to have this mother who was at a loss of what to do with her finances, and now she was having more structure with her money, and how she was able to show establishing boundaries with her daughter by saying, "We're disciplined with our list, and this is how we're going to apply it forward when it comes to money and things that we're buying." And it's like a form, I like to call it self-respect when it comes to setting those boundaries with your money, and your intentions with it, and saying no to other things so you can say yes to you and your goals. And it was just a great example of how what we do in our daily lives, how it affects our children when they observe what we do for their future behaviors.
I like the idea of setting boundaries and structure. And then I never thought of self-respect. You brought that part in, the self-respect. We said in terms of doing the things that God has placed in your heart to do, that you would have fewer dropouts, you would have more, your attendance would be higher, and you would have graduation from high school, your grade point averages would be higher. Now, this is for African Americans all over the United States. What we see in the Sacramento Unified School District, or the Pasadena, or the Elk Grove Unified School District, is not unique to us. It is something that affects African Americans no matter where you live. I don't know what it is that we have a pattern of behavior. But the neat thing is that I hope that, and I've sent this to the East Coast, this video to the East Coast. So I'm hoping that other people will catch on. Developing the budget is important for all of us, and too often we don't have a budget. We spend it, and we would be surprised where the money is once we start looking at it and what we can buy. I like the idea that your client included her child. We cannot afford to improve something and not include the children. They have to be involved in it. Thank you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Ladies, have anything else? I don't see this. This is the first time that I've seen with this kind of presentation, Sharon, that we haven't had any questions in the chat box.
Well, I'm sure people are savoring it all and going to use it to further their financial wealth.
But not only that, they have this whole presentation that they can go back to, and their telephone numbers are listed, so they can call and get the information themselves. But this has been an enlightening hour. Have we been on an hour? I don't know.
Yes.
But go one more and go over the 590 a 529 plan again for those who may have come late, because that is something that I think that we need to get involved in. Because even if I've had friends whose children chose not to go to college and they took the money and used it themselves. It was saved and they used it for themselves because it was there for them. And it wasn't their money if they chose not to go to college. Is that the way the 529 plan is too? And while you're doing that, do the K through the kindergarten to college plan. Those are just awesome to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let me take it back a moment to add on to what Marcia was saying about building your budget and dividing your income into certain fractions. Something I like quotes and I like sayings because it's easier to remember. I like stories because they stick with you. And something that I've been telling my clients often when we're just starting this, building the financial home, right? Building this financial home at the attic is investing. At the base is tracking your budget and seeing where your money is going now so we can tell it to go in the future. And whenever you're creating new behaviors, if you set these very high standards for yourself, that is not realistic, that is not within a certain time frame and has no numbers associated with it, then you're just setting yourself up for make-believe alternative life that you're not living, right? If we want something to really stick when we are building the financial home, I like to say, how do you build a home? Brick by brick. So we do these financial practices brick by brick to make it stick, right? So little by little, brick by brick to make it stick. And that's how you build the foundation to your financial home. And now I'll go back to the 529 college savings plan. So the 529 college savings plan is an investment account. So the money on the money that you deposit into the account does get multiplied because those funds are put into the stock market. And at the end of 18 years or whatever the time frame is, the option is with this money, you only have limited options to what you can do with it, right? Because it has compounded interest and the money that you've put into it has an intention. It is to go towards a college education of some degree, and it can go to over 6,000 colleges and over 400 international colleges. If for some reason the student, the youth who this money was saved for, does not want to go to traditional higher education, they want to go to a trade school, they want to do something else, then these funds can still be utilized by the parent for their education, so long as the funds are applied toward educational expenses. If it's not utilized towards educational expenses, then it can't be utilized. And that's not something that you want to see, right? That's the benefit of it being a tax write-off. So how it's a tax write-off is every year, even like this applies to putting money into your 401k, this puts money into your IRA account. Whenever you put money into an account that is going to increase interest over the year, because you're not using the money right now, it doesn't apply towards your income, right? Which means that you're not going to be taxed on it this year because you're not using the money. So that is going to save you from going into a higher tax bracket if you're putting money each year into an account like the 529 or also your personal investment accounts. The United Way program, kindergarten to college program, that is with one of our partner organizations, United Way. And when you enroll, they have you go through some classes, some training. And once you accomplish a few of the classes, they'll help you set up the 529 college savings. They will match your contribution. I've seen them match like between $50 and $100 themselves. And then along with that, if you are a United Way participant in this K through 12 or kindergarten to college program, and you stick it out with a financial coach, then we can also add or contribute $100 to the college savings program as well. But you have to be one of our financial coaching clients. It's not just a hey, can I get that money now? Thanks, bye. It's not like that. We're here for a long term. We're here to help with the long-term planning through this financial assistance.
Gavina, on the 529, if you save the money and it's accrued interest, at the end when my child is ready to go to college and I cash it in, am I taxed at that point on the interest that it is accrued?
I do not know the answer to that one.
Okay. Because it's been free ever since I've been able to write it off.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm cashing it in, or at least some of it anyway. I may not cash it all in, because if I got enough to put them through 4 years of college, I'm only going to cash enough in for the 1 year.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, because the funds would be going towards a financial institution and not back to you specifically. I think that's one way that you can pay for the college education.
So it doesn't go in your checking account. When you pay it, it goes directly to the institution.
Yes.
Okay. Then it's not my money.
It's for education purposes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you coach senior citizens?
Yes. As long as they're over the age of 18, we don't have a max age. I've had clients who are in the retirement ages, just seeing what we were about and seeing how we could support them as they're dealing with their how would you say it? Their Social Security income or their limited income, to see how to budget that. Yeah, everyone is welcome, so long, and it doesn't matter your immigrant status. We don't require that to be mandatory. The only thing is being over the age of 18 and within the Sacramento County for people who want to be coached by a financial coach in the Sacramento area.
Thank you very much. This is a great evening for me. Thank you. Thank you. Did you have final words, Marcia?
No, I thank you for having us. I appreciate the opportunity to share the information, and I look forward to definitely working with some parents and even some youth.
Thank you. I think you will. You know, one of the things that Marie Napper says to me, and she says it to many parents, never tell your child you don't have any money and you go to work every day. Look at, and I think that's why we look at words are important, and life and death is in the power of the tongue. Because if you're going to work every day and you don't have any money, what are we saying to our children? I don't want to work. Why should I work if I'm not going to have any money? You go to work every day and you don't have any money. We have money, it's just not allocated for what you're asking for. And that's why what you guys are talking about, bringing the children into the budget process so they see where the money is going. Because, you know, they just say, give me, give me, give me. I want this, I want that, and have no idea what it costs to stay in the apartment or in the house that you live in. They know what the shoes cost, but they don't know how you get it. And I also like the idea that you said that the child should be participate in the payment of whatever he or she wants. If you want something, you find a way to earn some money to make a contribution to getting what it is that you want. I think that's a good philosophy. And the reason I'm asking you to repeat certain things, I want all young parents who look at this to be reinforced with them when you look at it. And, you know, just like listening to a DVD, sometimes you have to listen to it 2 or 3 times. Well, sometimes you may have to listen to this or watch it 2 or 3 times before it sinks in for you to be effective. Because this is so important to us. It's just so important to our future. And thank you. I thank you, ladies, for participating. I thank you, Facebook, for listening and participating. And before we go, I just want to give I want to say 2 things. I want to say that one of the projects that the National Council of Negro Women is participating in is making sure that our people and people of color understand the benefits of getting the shot. Now, you don't have to, we're not forcing you to get it. We're just recommending that you get it, that you're protected so that you have another birthday and that you don't pass something on. And more importantly, that you don't get something that someone else may pass or try to pass on to you because you're protected. That is entirely up to you as to whether you want to get it. But we want to encourage you that if you've not gotten your shot, so you got, the statistics say that we get the first shot, but we don't go back for the second one. So if you've had the first shot, please make arrangements to have the second shot. They're free. And if you don't want it, that's your decision to make. But I'm asking that you get the shot. The other thing I want to say before we close, I want to give another shout out to the people. And as you listen to the people who sponsor this, you will know that most of the people are people like me and you who listen to this, who participate. They look like me and you who participate. They aren't, the only big one we have is Pharma. Our sponsors are Pharma. Our sponsors are Pharma, Odette White Crawford, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Eta Gamma Omega Chapter, Ollie W. Watson, Margaret C. Temple, Leon and Della Johnson, and Dr. Hazel W. Mahone. Those are the people who make this possible. Thank you very much. And if you see those people, just say, I heard that you sponsored the program of the Children of Promise Follow-Up. And we look forward, Gavina and Marcia, of talking to you guys again. All righty. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.